Okay guys, it's Monday the 3rd of September. We are on the FTSE 100 5-minute time frame. Have just been triggered into a long position on this market, pretty much right at the open. So this is the 7:55 a.m. candle. This is the 8 a.m. candle. Straight into the open, it spiked up and took me into the trade. Now, this candle right here is a piercing pattern. And what the market has done is dropped all the way down into the 7448 to 7421 zone. Now this zone, as I went over in last Sunday's analysis video and also this Sunday's analysis video, is the first sort of time. In fact, I only went over it in this week's Sunday analysis video. Last week I went over it with subscribers. So this zone was the first sort of zone where I'd be happy to start looking for buys again on the FTSE if we started to see the strong bearish price action. So if I jump onto the video that was used for the Sunday analysis video, you can see this zone right here. So 7440 to 7421. If the market tested at this level, it was key support. If we broke down below, it's opening up a stronger move down toward this 7380 level underneath. Now, a couple of different reasons for this. It's the previous swing point. It's when we first start testing at that swing point, and on top of that, the market came up, it's put in a nice solid double top, we've broken down below this level, and as we're testing at the swing, it's a good sort of area for people to get out of their sell positions and also for buyers to look for a bounce back up toward the previous swing. So we've got the MA200 up here, we've got the round number 7500. It's got a lot of sort of confluences up there for sellers stepping back into the market. So rather than selling down at the lows, I knew there was a good chance we'd see some sort of a bounce attempting to make a pullback before we've seen any more strong selling coming into this market. Now, another little thing you can add to that is that we are in the first day of the month. So it's the 3rd of September, it's the first Monday of the month. First Monday of the month, especially if a market has made a relatively bearish movement over the previous month, it becomes a good area for sort of institutional buying, an injection of larger amounts of funds, because they don't really want to buy at the very top of the market. So a lot of confluences. As soon as I seen the market breaking up like this, well, first of all, I was a little bit frustrated because what I thought was we were just going to continue pressing higher, open up here somewhere, and then just get the strong press into this 477 zone. But we got the nice pullback, we got the nice piercing pattern at 7:55 a.m. And triggered into the trade straight after that candle. So what I'm looking for is potentially a press up into this zone up above. I'm going to watch and see how the market reacts. It has been very, very bearish. We are testing at previous swings. So yeah, let's see. If we get some nice, strong, simple bullish price action, yep, I'll hold it up into this zone up above. And then pretty much call that a day. So I'm hoping for a nice, fast, simple trade. It's a Monday morning. I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but in Scotland, it is grey. It's a little bit drizzly. And Monday morning, you know, it's the day when you start to get back to work. A lot of people can't be bothered. I'm hoping for a nice, fast, easy trade, and then I can simply call it a day. But let's see how we get on. So far, nice strong bullish press higher. We are just sitting around about 465. Up towards sort of 70 and higher is the level that I'm looking to take profits. So let's see how we get on anyway. Nothing else really to go over with this trade, apart from, well, really, when I was coming into the market today and we've seen this starting to press higher, there was the potential there that I was going to miss the setup. And then when it was pressing higher like that, you get a little bit frustrated. And I was sort of thinking to myself, you know, do I want to get in at these levels and then maybe just have a stop way down here below the pre-market swing points, reduce my risk reward, but it means I can still get in on the trade. And really all I had to do was just sort of sit and wait for the market to give me a potential setup. It pulled back perfectly, it's testing. We can also see, I'm not sure if you can see it very well, you can see the MA200 coming in, just sort of scooping down through that signal candle. Just gave me another little confluence. We also got a nice press up after the pullback. Yeah, I was more than happy to get into this trade. So let's see how we get on. I am looking for it to press back up to 70 and higher We are having a pretty strong pullback at present. We are testing at the pivot point. Wasn't really looking at this as an overly strong support and resistance level today. That's why I'm kind of happy to hold the trade a little bit longer. You know, usually if I'm coming into a pivot point, so let's say the market, let's say I was entering up here somewhere and we pressed up toward this R1 level, then I'd really be looking to exit the trade. But the pivot point at present, it's not really an overly strong support and resistance level for me today. It doesn't mean that I'm correct, but it means that the way I'm looking at the market is telling me that it's okay to sort of hold the trade, give it a little bit of wiggle room as it tests at this area. So we'll see how we get on. What I will do is if the trade starts to take a relatively long time, I will pause the video, just sort of turn it back on when we start making a movement, either breaking down or starting to break back up toward that profit level. And I'll just sort of talk you through exactly what it is that I'm looking at, exactly what it is that I am doing. We're getting a bit of a bearish pullback. I'm still happy to be in this trade because basically what I'm looking at is strong press higher, potentially pulling back to retest at this little swing that we made pre-market. And it becomes a good sort of area once again for the bulls to step back in. So if we can get up into these levels, around over 1% I'd be looking for on this trade. I'll be happy to sort of lock it in and call it a day. Let's see how we get on. Okay, so the FTSE has now made a pretty decent pullback and retested at that previous level of structure. So we can see the market pulling back. We can see a couple of little pins here, and we are now attempting once again to press higher. So what I've done is I have now brought my stop to break even. I want to protect the trade because now we've had that pullback. We've started to see the bulls stepping back in once again. If we start failing now, then it's more likely that my analysis is incorrect. And if that is the case, I want to protect my trade. Now, sometimes, in fact, quite often, when I get my stop to break even, the market will come down and take me out of break even and then still make a nice press toward my profit level. However, a lot of trading is to do with psychology and you need to find what works for you. And for me personally, I know now if that market was to come back down and stop me out, that would be a lot more difficult for me personally to deal with than if it took me out at the break-even level. So I protect my trade, and I basically, by doing that, I look at it like even if this market would, let's say, do this, and then this, it makes more sense for me to take the break-even rather than maybe the smaller chance of it taking me out at the full loss level. The reason for that is because I know through years of trading that my weakness comes when I start to take losses after being in very nice profit. When I was doing all my testing and I was starting to sort of grow as a trader, I found that that's when I started to make mistakes. So what I did was I just built in ways into my trading to stop that from happening. And one of the ways I did that was, I'll just look to protect my trade. I'll look to get my stop to break even when I can. Now, really what I can do, if I want to, I can get up from the computer. I can set my limit order up at these levels somewhere and I can just walk away and I can do something else. And sometimes that's what I do. Obviously, I'm not going to do that when I'm making the video, but yeah, that's what I do sometimes. I also got asked maybe a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember exactly, if I could just record the entire trade. Now, there was a couple of reasons I don't do that. Sometimes I do. There's lots of live trades that I've posted where it's just been the entire trade, and that's because the trade is short. When you get into a trade, there's no way to tell how long it's going to last. And sometimes it lasts for hours, sometimes it lasts all day. And what's going to happen is if I just record the entire thing, you're just going to be sort of staring at me, and I'm going to have to sort of put on this fake permagrin, that is just not going to be sort of natural. It's not what I do when I'm normally trading. I just be sort of sitting here smiling, not having anything to say, maybe sort of trying to find things to say and just rambling a total lot of crap. So what I do instead is I pause the video, I turn it back on when the market starts to make any sort of movements, because also one of my weaknesses is if I stare at the charts. If I just focus on this candle and every single movement this candle makes, I would likely have exited after this one. It's a very strong bearish movement. I'd be watching this and I'd be thinking, oh, this is a very strong bearish movement. I was in nice profit. After this, certainly the sellers are going to step in. There's no way it's going to press back higher again. And I would come out of the trade. And that's because I'm making mistakes. And one of the reasons I make mistakes is because I'm watching every sort of tick on the chart. And if I'm making a video, I'm staring at the screen, a lot of the time. So what I do is I just trade how I always trade. I pause the video, I turn to one of the other screens, and I just start doing different kinds of work. And then I'll sort of glance back every few minutes, and I'll just look at the candle and I'll say, okay, has that changed my analysis? And why would this change my analysis? It's just pulling back into the level that I've already identified. Yeah, it's a very strong bearish candle. But why would that change my analysis? It doesn't. This one, when it was forming, was very bearish. This one, when it was forming, was very bearish. But all they're doing is retesting this level. So if I don't look at the chart and then I just look when the candles are finished, I can say, okay, yeah, it's tested the level, but it's showing the bulls stepping back in. So it's actually in favor of my trade. This one, yeah, it's very bearish, but it's very bearish and it's not going anywhere. It's not broken through that level of structure yet. So I'm happy to stay in the trade. Okay, so I'm watching this at present. We are up at that 70 level. So I want to sort of see how this candle is going to react. There's fairly strong resistance up here. There is the possibility now we're going to head up into the 500 level, but we're testing at fairly significant swings here, so I really want it to come pretty quickly. What I'm going to do is just sort of get ready to close the trade. If I get a nice strong bullish close on this candle, I will likely just take the profits. Where are we at? We're at £800 holding at this level. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what I've done is I've locked in profits, closed the trade out for £800, so over 1.5%. We're at, what are we at? 835. We're actually at 839, so we're around about 20 to 9. Yeah, really good trade. It lined up with the analysis. Really what I'm trying to get across with that one is I'm trying to remove my weaknesses as much as possible when I'm trading. Yeah, because we all have weaknesses. Yeah, even people who trade full time still have weaknesses. The only difference is I have accepted my weaknesses and I've figured out ways to sort of work around them. And not have those weaknesses interfere with the charts. The worst thing you can do is think that you're going to sort of become this trading guru, this trading robot that just executes these trades and just every time perfect. It's not going to work. You have to realize that we are flawed in a lot of the things that we do. And, I am extremely flawed. I'm happy to admit that. You can sit down with my girlfriend and I'm sure she'll go through it with you. But it doesn't have to stop you taking effective trades. Yeah? You just need to figure out a way to work around your flaws and follow your trading plan. So yeah, nice trade. I mean, £800, it's not a huge amount of money, but in my sort of previous life, when I used to sort of work for a living, when I used to do the whole 9 to 5, I didn't used to do 9 to 5. I used to do 8 a.m. in the morning until when I finished, sometimes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. That would be more than a week's wages for me. It's still sort of surreal sometimes when you think about it. That would be an entire week of working for me to not even earn that amount of money. So that also helped me to start to learn to trade properly. And there's no real, I don't mean properly, because everyone can trade differently and still make money. I mean, it taught me how to trade in a way that allowed me to start pulling profits from the market. Instead of having to always be right, instead of having to chase after trades, instead of getting greedy on trades, I just started to figure out ways that worked for me because I could see the potential. I could see that, it's 20 to 9 in the morning, I'm sitting on my ass, it's the whole, I'm wearing the Decisive trading top. It's business on top, it's relaxed underneath. I'm wearing a pair of jogging trousers, I've got my coffee sitting next to me, I've not got a boss. Those are the sort of things you need to keep in your mind when you're learning how to trade. It's not about making millions of pounds in a couple of years. It's just not going to happen. I promise you it's not going to happen. Everyone you see who's posting that shit online, you're funding that lifestyle. That's not how it works. figure out the reasons why you want to do this, and figure out the benefits, and create yourself a long-term plan, and then start working on yourself. You've got your trading plan, or you should have your trading plan. It's one of the first things you should work on, whether you've bought into a trading plan, whether you've designed your own trading plan, as long as it works. After that, it just comes down to pretty much how much do you want it? You know, how much do you want the dream that everyone's pushing to you? That's a dream. You know, there's no substance to it. It's just going to dissolve as soon as you try and get to it. Or how much do you want it to be this real thing that is in your life? You know, would I rather go and work 10, 12, 13-hour days to earn less money than you can potentially earn in a trade? Now, so I don't mean to make this all positive. There's lots of negatives with trading. You know, there's the profits, but then there's the drawdowns. And sometimes you get to the end of the week and you've not made any money. That can be really difficult to deal with. But I'm doing it in my own house. I don't need to commute. I don't have a boss. I can literally wake up and say, you know, I don't want to trade today. I'm not going to trade today. There's a lot of positives, and it's about focusing on those positives and starting to get yourself toward where you want to be. I mean, my dog, I don't know if you can hear her in the background, she's already sort of shuffling around on the ground. I think she's maybe a little bit psychic. She can tell when I've had a good trade, and she starts to say, okay, now it's time to take me out for a walk. And I can do that now before 9 in the morning. Actually, I've got a video that I need to work on, which I'm going to post first. And then I'll take the dog out, and it's absolutely peeing it down now rather than drizzling. So I am going to try and wait, and hopefully that dies off a little bit. Okay, guys. So as always, I hope that was helpful. I hope you are all having a good trading week. I'm James Orr, and thank you.